Hi, welcome to another episode of the Performance Cafe. I'm really glad to see you here, and I hope that you've had a lovely weekend, and that if you're in the Southern Hemisphere with me, that you're enjoying the onset of summer. It really feels like it is now with us. And also on the decline is COVID, which is always good news for all. And I'm hoping that we can now onward and upward and get ourselves ready for a great 2021. And this morning I was thinking, what will we discuss today at the Performance Cafe? Now, many of you have shown an interest in small business and in organizational culture. So I thought I'd do something on culture today. But I want to prove to you that there's no difference between culture for a large organization versus culture for a small organization. And the reason is this. I'm fascinated by multi-stage yacht races. What makes someone get onto a little bitty boat in a very big ocean and stay there for a couple of days and face some really proper challenges, right? There's any form of mechanical thing. Will the wind blow? Won't the wind blow? Will we have a motor? Won't we have a motor? What will the currents do? What will competitors do? There's such an overflow of information, and the big focus is who can win? Who can get there first? And the reason why I'm talking about that today is because I think we tend to say, or we tend to have this feel, at least, that there's a difference between culture in a small organization and culture in a big organization. But if we think about it, no matter the size of your business, like those yachtsmen, you're about to go on an adventure. You're going to get into this vessel of yours, and you're going to have a very particular goal. And you've got to get it done as well as you can, despite the odds that are facing you. And you still have to come out on the other side, and you somehow have to win. Now, in the yacht races, it might be, we need to win the prize or we need to get there first. But for us, winning could be superior customer service, winning financially so that the business is sustainable. There's more to winning than I think sometimes we always understand. And that is why, to me, organizational culture, which is the glue that keeps things together, is irrespective of size. Because in a yacht race, there could be 2 or 5 people on a boat, right? Well, on a yacht, sorry, for those who are aficionados, I'm certainly not. So from my perspective, the thing that sort of sticks with me is that here you have a group of people who somehow need to get along because it's a small space, peeps, or must deal with sort of, hectic isolation if there's only one person on the yacht. They've got this goal that still needs to be achieved. There are outside forces at work, that some which they can predict and monitor and measure, and some which they can't. And there is a reliance, because I think one thing that we must understand is with the advent of technology, even if you're alone on a boat, you're not alone, because you can have, via radio communication, satellite communication, access to people who can provide support of some perspective, whether it's just giving advice or passing on information, right? But if you take a look, let's say there's a 4-person crew. Now that crew must learn to rely on each other. They don't have to be best buds, but they must be able to collaborate. So there must be some form of relationship or connection between them. There's got to be some way of, this is how we work. Now, this is how we work is really easy because there's probably specialities within that group. So each one knows what they do, but there's also dependencies. There's handover. In order to optimize their effectiveness, they might actually multi-skill so that they can support each other and stand in for each other should anything happen. But more than that, there's a shared something else, a secret sauce kind of thing. And it doesn't have to be a secret sauce, because it is about shared values, aspirations, and norms. There's going to be something that they're going to express that'll show how they as a team merge and work together. And that is the values that underlie any culture. So if you can imagine your business as this little yacht, And if you can accept that just like that 4-person team, your team, four people or 40, they have some shared interest to get to a particular point, and they share certain skills or are dependent on each other for skills, they share norms, they share values. What's the glue that keeps them together? A lot of people say to me, we don't have a culture. Well, actually you do. I think I've said it before, even if there's no culture, nature abhors a vacuum. So an informal culture will start. But what we need to take a look at is, what is the culture that we need? What is the secret sauce that we need between people to make the business go forward? And so today, I hope that I've reminded you that whether 4 or 40 people, culture is needed, that there would be an informal culture if we don't create one, but that there's space to sit and think about what does make this team work. In closing, there's another part of culture that I'd like to bring to mind. And that is when we have a small business, we're back to that 4-man or 4-person team. Then if we're 8 people, how will the culture change? If we're 12 people, how will the culture change? Because that's another thing. Although we create cultures to create some form of predictability around how we think, how we act, what we do, we have to grow. Our culture has to grow, or else we'll become outdated in society. Because every time our client changes, every time our product changes, every time the market changes, like we've seen with COVID, there's a knock-on effect. And so our culture has to adapt in order to accommodate all of these. So if you don't know what your culture is, take a look at what's the secret sauce right now. If you need to grow your team, know what's the secret sauce and be very aware of how you adjust that going forward. And if you've got a large team, maybe take a look at what do the little 4-person teams or 5 or 10-person teams do in that 40-person team, and see what is there that is so similar that it starts predicting a culture. Then you can start evaluating that and ask yourself, does this culture serve our purpose? Does it get us where we want to be? And what do we need to add or take away in order for it to best serve where the company needs to go? I hope you found this little soundbite on culture interesting and useful. I would love to hear your comments. I would love to get any questions from you. Please pop them into, if you're on LinkedIn or Facebook, pop them into the comments and I'll get back to you there. Or alternatively, always you can like and share, as well as on our YouTube channel, where you can also like and share and subscribe. So that's it for today, but don't forget that we have a new coffee companion this Friday by names of Herman Singh, and I'll be sending out some information about that as from tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your week. I look forward to seeing you on Friday for our next coffee companion.